Hello and welcome to my Innovation Story podcast, where you get exclusive insights into the journeys of amazing innovators across the African continent. I'm Femi Aoni, and today we have a very interesting guest. His name is Kelvin Umechukwu. And for those who might not be familiar with him, he is the CEO of Bumpa, a digital platform that helps businesses track their sales and manage their offline and online business transactions seamlessly. Kelvin, it's a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
Honestly, I've been a big fan of your story. I think you've done a lot of very exciting things at different times in your life, but generally your innovation story. So I would like to start off with some of your earlier stories. So your childhood, could you maybe just tell us a little bit about how your early beginnings were, how you grew up, where you grew up, and, how you developed this passion for building things?
Okay. I think just the idea of building probably takes me back to when I was very young. I would say like primary school age, where I like to build toy cars, right? We'll cut out circles of the slippers, these rubber slippers, bedroom slippers as you know it, and then you have this toothpaste container. Just cut it. I don't know if you ever did that.
I completely recall.
And then you use broom, and then that's literally the car. And I think that also made me very fascinated about cars, and I always just did it either using that method or this. I don't know if it's a styrofoam, but it comes with the new electronics. That white thing.
The protective foams. Yeah.
We use that to build cars, and you can carve it to any shape you want. You wanted at the time, and so I just remember that was like a huge part of what I did when I got home from school, and if I take it to school, it would just sort of be like that cool thing that, I would use to show off to my friends. So I grew up doing that, and, it's why I also studied mechanical engineering. I just felt like that's the only thing I wanted to do, build cars, but, I started doing that. But then when I got into secondary school, it changed a little bit, from that to more hardware than software.
Okay.
How we went to hardware was, my mom used to work at Computer Village.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she used to work at Computer Village. She had a shop at 11 Otigba Street. It was called Bios Global at the time. She was the manager there, and every Saturday I had to go help her in her store.
Okay.
Well, I didn't have to go, but then I loved doing it.
Okay, fair enough.
And I just started at the time, always, buying new phones and selling it in my class. I was the only one that was allowed to have a phone in secondary school because I sold phones to even my principal. So that just opened me to, to this whole hardware, this thing. I used a lot of phones because I will buy it. And I said I'll buy it. They've bought me a lot, and even that same Computer Village twice. So I went through the entire experience, but that opened me up into this tech space. And then I had this friend, his dad used to work at Halliburton as a computer engineer, and so they had laptops in their house. So I bought one for 12,000 naira at that time, and I probably think that was one of the best decisions I ever made, and so I got introduced into, just using a computer and, typing really fast, using Mavis Beacon. I just love the entire thing. And then I think the fourth part, I think I've just mentioned a few things.
It's fine.
What I think the important thing is those different things, they're just pivotal moments. The fourth part was me just, seeing the news about To Go, right? I used to go then, I was professional, and, and professional is for those Gen Z people that did not know what to go. To go was a big part of our life. It's what today. Now you can use WhatsApp to chat, but that time it was just to go that we had. And then professional was like, you had level based on how well you're using it. Was like a gamification thing that really works well. So I read the news one day. To go got 20 million users when they hit 20 million users. And then I read about it and I realized that they were not even Nigerians. But 17 million of their users were Nigerians. And it's just like, why? like, I don't know what it was then, but I can remember that day so well because I was just like, why don't we have our own? Right. And I just started reading about, how they built it. Then I saw Python and then I started learning to, and that's literally what made me enter coding.
Okay.
It's not, there was no conversation with anybody. I just saw that. I don't know if it was spite. I just thought this thing, like, why don't we have our own? And I designed my own. My own was using, what do you call it? It's this soldier's ranking, army ranking, it was lieutenant. So I was just like, let me have my own version. That's the only goal I had.
Interesting.
Just the version. And so I got into it. So at this time I had gone into university. I think this was like 2011, 2012. I had gone into OAU, Obafemi Awolowo University. And so that's how I found my community of people. Yeah. So a few young people like me that just wanted to learn to code, and then,
took off from there.
We did it. And then by the second or third year, we had launched something called Voice App, which was like my own version of this thing. It was Voice App. Through that period, I had built a few things like Golden Move Ventures, CloudShot, and then Voice App was this platform. And then it was a sensation in school then. It was like a social media for the campus students at the time.
Okay.
We had thousands of users. Thousands of users were using it. I even got me, recognized by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, deans. It was just like a sensation. And that's basically how, those are, I think, pivotal moments.
Yeah.
That sort of, brought me to the point where, now I'm building software and stuff. But then, I think none of those, I don't think I can remove any part of that. All of those has basically brought me to where I am. And the entire thing about selling phones, I think that just introduced me to entrepreneurship at a very young age.
Really?
I was buying and selling, like selling. I did not necessarily think about it as anything. It was just like people wanting to buy my phone. So I started buying phones that people wanted to buy. From instead of me to just buy the ones that I wanted, and I started buying the ones that I know that people would buy.
Right, yeah.
And then I was selling it. I was making money in school. Like, I would give my mom money to hold for me, and then she would tell me the money that she's using to feed me.
It's almost like we have the same childhood. Legends have suffered.
Yeah, so I think that's like, what my childhood looked like, and how I got into the building journey.
That's very interesting. So a couple of things stand out to me. One is you actually getting into business and getting street smart very early.
Well,
because you said, you got cheated once or twice, but you learned from it. And I'm sure it's
I cried.
It's part of the journey. Tell that part of the journey.
My new Nokia, I've forgotten the name, was this one that just came out. It was 14,000 naira. I bought it new because that one I was like, that was my phone. That's how I just entered one place. I wanted to buy school bag. They just put me. They said they would beat me if I should just be going back.
So sorry.
I saw the guy later. Literally, I was pointing. The guy was a big tout, and nobody could do anything. Literally, I was seeing the person that took my phone,
but nobody could do anything about it.
Like the level of injustice.
I'm so sorry,
man.
Oh, dude, man, I'm sorry, but it's interesting seeing you go through the journey, and there's something you touched on, which is community. And when you got into, I think it was in university, And you seem to be very big on community, actually. You had a few community-related roles. Could you tell us a little bit about how the community side of things influenced some of your perspective when it came to like the tech ecosystem as a whole?
Yeah, so when I dabbled into community, I did not even know that that was what it was.
Okay.
I think this was by the time we had become myself and my team, we had become a sensation. Voice App had become a thing. I was just getting a lot of requests on, oh, how did you guys do this? Blah, blah, blah. Like other students, oh, I want to join your team. I want to do this. Oh, I have this question on coding. They were just asking me. And at the time, I had stopped, at least I had stopped coding. Like I now had a team
around
my friends, Ademola, Perfect, these guys were now coding. They were the ones building the app. And so what I did then was just, I created a WhatsApp. At that time, WhatsApp was becoming popular. So I created a WhatsApp group. And then I added all those my guys that were coding. So we had sort of like I will not say it's a team, a group.
Okay.
It was called iLab.
iLab.
OAU. Okay. It was an exclusive, like if you build something, they basically invite you to join.
Oh, interesting.
It was interesting. It was the White House department. We were building robotics. That's a different story. But so I put many of them in the group that could answer questions. And then when people reached out and said, "Oh, I have this question," I added them to the group and said, "Ask the question
directly." Fair enough.
And then I remember just deciding to just use a group, and it became a thing, right? It became that group that everybody wanted to join. It's what is called Consonance Club today, but it happened while I was just on the bed in my hostel. In 2017, I had just finished. I think I had just finished my final exams, and then I was just like,
what do I do?
So I just created that group, blah, blah, blah. And then we started doing things together. We went on mountaineering.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing in OAU, like you have to do mountaineering. There we had mountains. So this group went on doing things together. We went on an excursion to Kudi. Don't know if you know Kudi. Oh, Kudi is now Number.
Yeah, now Number. Yeah, I remember.
Yes. So at that time it was Kudi. I used to be the ambassador. That's trying to recruit students to use the platform.
Interesting.
So we did an excursion. Putting money. So it now became a thing.
Yes.
So like an identity that you are part of this group of people. So we even organized an event called The Leverage.
The Leverage.
I think one of the paid events that happened in you at the time, because before then tech events nobody pays for it. It's free.
Mostly free
event. But this one we did 500 naira and it was sold out. Like we had full this thing. That's even where I met Aniedi of Google.
Yes.
So he came around, and so I think that just brought me into what we consider as community today. So I was just involved in this, and then it started becoming a thing, and then and then before you knew it, I was this community guy. I have built communities now for Google, for Facebook, for TechQuest, Ingressive, I just, and now we're building the same community for Bumpa.
I think it's important to note the community angle, because I don't think you'll be where you are today without it.
No, I don't think so.
I actually think it's quite interesting how you've been able to, from a very young age, be able to pull from the resources of everyone around you to make it mutually beneficial, that everybody learns and we're all better together. I'm a firm believer that the ecosystem we have today, we are greater than, I think if we come together, basically, we are greater than some of our parts, basically. I think I'm not saying that correctly. But basically, when we come together, we actually create something amazing. Right. I can't understate the community angle. It's something I wanted to flesh out because it's something that you do quite well, I believe. I would like to kind of fast forward a few years now. You've gone through the rounds. You've done the community thing in school. I believe you're at CC Hub.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about how from CC Hub transitioning into Bumpa, which is what you're doing today, how did some of the learnings you got from CCO translate into being a successful entrepreneur? Right? Could you maybe just talk us through that transition?
I'm still in that journey, of being, successful entrepreneur. I think I'm still in that journey, and there's so much that I'm learning now, and that I've been learning. But a lot of the things that have brought me to where I am today has to do with a lot of the experiences that I have built, that I have been a part of over the years. And I think a big part of it is actually my work with TechQuest Tech Summer Academy.
Okay.
It was a non-profit. It's a non-profit, right? And what we did at the time was just train young people in STEM education. So remember I did robotics.
Yeah.
My final year project was a robotic arm. I still have my mechanical engineering side.
It's still there somewhere.
It's still there. my book that I published is mechanical engineering.
I don't think I ever get to be for me complete.
So I still have that side of me that I really like. And so I was training people that were training the kids, and at some point I was even training the kids by myself. And it was just introducing them into STEM education. So things like learning to code, learning to design games, learning to build electronics, with Arduino, and even robotics. Like that's what we're doing. But one thing that was very important, I think, is the impact that Charles Emembolu was the CEO of the company at the time had on me, because he gave me that leeway to be able to run that entity, right? Under his supervision, and he was there. When you have someone that is there, not just they push you and say, go and figure it out. Like, he was there. I would write proposal, he would sit beside me. I have very vivid memory of he would leave his office, come and sit beside me in my own side of the office, and showing me what I need to do or what I need to do right. So I had that direct mentorship. So I was just community manager, but I was designing budget of the year for the year.
Fair.
I was hiring.
Fair.
I was, from there, they just gave me program manager. From there, I was head of business development. I did not have just 3 or 4. But
interesting.
My roles was just changing because, from just being a STEM education hub where they were before I got there, we were just training kids during boot camp. This STEM boot camp that happens during the holidays. Till now, building it. I was just in Lekki, but to now building it to something that I built a community out of it. And so 20 states, 15 states at the time.
Oh, wow.
And now I think they're in over 20. So in 15 states, I built out communities in each state. I was just traveling to all of these states, building out community of trainers there. And we impacted over 15,000 people, and, revenues did 500x because I tapped into something that we were not tapping into at the time, which was now organization CSR. We had MTN, Vodafone, IHS. IHS was one of the biggest projects. I have pictures because they were pivotal where I was signing a deal of 20-something million. At that time, I was like, I don't even do NYC at this time.
Oh, really?
This was 2018, 2019, I think I did the NYC. I did not have any issue, but I had Charles there with me
to back you.
So when I would go to go and pitch, you'd just be there sitting there. I would say, I should do it because senior people are there. You say, do it. I say, do it. I'm there. When I talk and it will say so, it will just help me out. It was just, and I think that was very critical for me because I think I got into entrepreneurship for an organization, with real life things, in school. I think that entrepreneurship part, there was nobody paying us for anything there. It was more like just tech project. But now it was real life, real money, yes, and, so it was and then I think by 2019, I started realizing that, I wanted to see what's happening in the entrepreneurship space for real. And that's how I knew that I was always going to go back to entrepreneurship, but
yeah.
you know, I thought that I just needed to see how it is. You know, I was hearing of, either people raising money or people doing stuff, Paystack, Flutterwave. Like, it just felt like it was like that's great. They're building stuff that I was even regretting. Why did I drop voice app? Because I just shut voice app down. Like, I was just like, there's no need to, But I was like, I should be building stuff. Like, I've always built stuff. I've built stuff. Like, and it just felt like that part of the world was just happening.
Yeah.
And then I was not contributing as much. I was trying my own part of the world, my own corner, because, training young people. I'm seeing some of those young people today doing amazing things.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, maybe I needed to also just go into building first, because I'm not able to continue to guide them if I don't have some level of experience, if I've not tried something at a particular level. And so I just started looking out for organizations that were involved in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And CCOp came to mind. I don't know how I saw it, but then I just saw it one day. It was on I had left TechQuest. It was just a month. So I went into project. That's when I started doing stuff for FSI and Google. I was just taking projects and community projects. I could do all of those things. So, that's how I was getting money. So, and then I think I just saw the CCO of this, and they were looking for a program manager and then portfolio manager. And that's someone that was going to be supporting the entrepreneurs, the ones that are funded or building. I was like, I think this is it. I just applied, and I was called, I think, the next day, and that same week I got it. I went in for the interview, and then I got it.
That was it.
And that was just it. I was just like, wait, I was like, oh, I'm actually, like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually very important also in my journey, because I got to support entrepreneurs, got to see what was happening. I was down close in, and I was seeing it happen now, across. I think I supported over 30 startups through my career in
different countries.
Different countries, because I was running different. Do you know that the next week after I got that, COVID hit. Lockdown hit. I called COVID hit, but lockdown. And then I never got to even work because one of the things I wanted to do was I actually needed a place where I would work inside the office and stuff. So, but I actually never did that.
Crazy.
So it was just, I started supporting all of them, and I think learning. I had Dami.
Yeah.
Dami Teddy.
Yeah.
She's superb. I don't know how much.
She is.
I don't know how to put it again. But she's superb. I think I was blessed, from having Charles and Membolu to having her. Like, I just had good people that support me in my journey, and I think that was really critical. So, I think that part helped me, understand what was actually happening in the entrepreneurship world, and I understood how to pitch, how to do this, how to do that. And so the transitioning that happened from doing that to being an entrepreneur was actually almost very smooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. And so a backstory, in 2018, me and my co-founder, TJ, we worked on Sales Cabal. Sales Cabal is what has become Bumpa, right? But at this time, it was just a project where it was Host Cabal, and then we let me give the background because
sure, please.
So in Host Cabal, what we were doing at the time was just helping people host their websites. So our primary audience, our customer base were developers. Remember, that's my field. And when I'm building communities with developers, like that's, and this part is critical because that's what brought me into work solving for business owners.
Yeah.
So we're primarily focused on developers. So my day-to-day, was going into events and telling developers, if you want to host, don't use my name cheap, don't use all of these guys. We can help you host your stuff, And if you wanted to build big projects that you could not build, would help you build it too.
Okay.
Because we're devs. But we started seeing something that was really important, and it was the business owners themselves. We did not actually try to sell to business owners, but business owners themselves were reaching out. Oh, I needed a website. I think it's a mistake in our copy, because the copy was supposed to be about hosting websites. Like, you have built your website and then come in and then you just host it. That's our service.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the business owners were the ones reaching out and say, okay, I want to host the website. And I think they just assumed that we build the website.
Build it and host it for them.
Well, since we can build, okay, we'll build it and host it for you. And so that basically just means we started working with business owners and helping them host their website, and build and host it. But then they all wanted the same thing. The most important thing is I want to start collecting payments online, right? I want people to go to buy my products online. And you're like, it's just, we had this one template that we used, I think about 3 templates. We just kept on spinning the same thing for months. No problem, we'll spin it for you. So it was now very easy. It was like we're scaling that thing, but it was very manual.
Yeah.
And so we thought, with Shopify, we saw Shopify definitely. And then we were like, how do we automate it? That you don't even need us to be there, and then these websites will sort of be built for you.
Fair enough.
And so it became a project. I remember going to Qatar, going around and just asking them questions, business owners at the time, and then we built that. But remember, at this time, our work was host cabal.
Yeah.
Not this thing that we were doing. This was just a project that we were trying out.
Yeah.
So, we did it. We had a few hundred people, use it. It was about 30,000 naira at the time.
Okay.
I remember pitching at one tech point thing about it, and everybody was like, oh, it's nice. But then to me, it was not a startup. This was 2018. I was not even ready to do startup then. I was still like, that's when I left to do TechQuest, SCCL. But then, let's go back now to 2020. Move forward to 2020. During COVID, during the lockdown,
there's a big influx of people needing websites.
People now needed this thing.
Yeah.
And TJ just hits me up one day. I was like, see that thing we built that time. We need to bring it back. I was like, see, my career has changed though. My career is CC Hub to Microsoft or Google. That's how I saw my path.
Lord.
I was like, this thing that you're, but I saw it there. It was more like, oh, this thing is actually going to be useful to people. Like, there's no need why we should not actually make this available to people at the time. So I decided,
sure, why not?
Why not? It was just a side thing. I was like, I'll do it on the side. I just, told my people as to say about, oh, this is something that we're doing on the side though. But I got an assistant to help me with the things, and then, I was just doing it. Right. I still focused on my work at CC Hub. So like I had very structured life. My routine then was spotless. Wake up in the morning, I ran.
Okay.
Came back. Wake up in the morning. I was waking up very early. Wake up in the morning, I did sales cabal work. By 7, I go into run. By 9, I'm on the decks. Like, we had to be we're not physical, but then, you have to even come in and say good morning. Like, you have to be there.
I get you.
I had taken my bath out, 9, 5. Sometimes it went to 6 or sometimes, but then immediately by 8 till I think 11, I'm back to say about work. Like, it was so structured like that, just because I wanted to do some work, and I think that was like, I reached out to Ope. He was an alumni of Ope also. So I reached out. I was like, see this thing that we have built on, what do you think? He was like, damn, this is great. Like, me, I did not even see it like that. It's this time. Like, it was just like, I got a website in 30 seconds. There was nothing like it's at the time. Like, what? And that was it. So he helped us this that person that has been pivotal in my journey. Basically just helped us push it to Google's client base. That day, 700 users. They're like, what the?
Really?
700
one day.
The next day, 1,000. Like with that Google's push, like we had almost 1,000 users. I have one of the matches that came from that Google thing. That is still using Bumpa today. No, there are many, but there is one that have become. She's like the person that has them. Like she's one of our top merchants. It's through that email in 2020. Right, this was sales, but we didn't even have every of this thing that we're talking here. It's now that we're, our pitch is refined. At the time, it was not even like it was just that app. Like, yeah, exactly. And then that was it. Literally, that was it. Like that push was the thing that said, okay, there's something here.
Okay.
There's something here. And basically that's, by the next year, and I told Dami that say I wanted to let transfer, and I wanted to raise money at the time, and the investors were like, if I'm not full time, I'm not going to get them. So I was like, it's time. I wanted to stay in CC Hub longer, but then I would be limiting Bumpa if I don't. So by 2021, we then worked on Bumpa, and then by May, and I left to now focus on. So it was I don't know if it's like every single thing that have happened have just been built on top, the previous thing.
I think it's quite an interesting story because Steve Jobs has this quotes where you can only connect the dots.
Looking backwards, yeah.
It would seem like a lot of the experience that you were getting across different stages of your life were leading you to this point. But obviously, in the moment, you didn't know.
How could you
tell?
Path was even. I said it's career path. I saw myself in Google. There was nothing that you wanted to tell me about not being in Google. I loved Google at the time, and I just knew that I'm going to work here.
That's where you know. It's interesting. I want to talk about Bumpa a little bit more, but there's a question that we ask our guests in every episode. What has been, and you've said a few pivotal moments, so let me know if it's not just one, it's a couple, but what has been the most pivotal moments in your innovation story so far?
Yeah. The truth is actually, it has been a couple, and I think I've highlighted all of these single points. I don't know if
one that you've missed out.
One that is I would put higher than others. Like I think like every of that moment, the impact of CC Hub, the impact of being at TechQuest, the work that we did at Salescaba that time with my co-founder, the work I did back in school. I don't know if I remove one, I don't know if it will still be. You know how that kind of
I get what you mean.
I think all of it had to happen. At the time it happened, for me to be here. So, maybe, maybe the most, the most important one was, I think the one that actually brought me into this entire software life, and it's hard to say, but it's to go. Because I think I would not even, see software, at all. For the way I was focused on mechanical engineering and cars, I would not see software. I'm sure. Maybe it's now that, when I'll be working in one, General Motors, and I'm not seeing Tesla and software. I'm not like, okay, maybe it's now I'll just be entering software. But I think without to go, I would not even be in.
I've made the transition. I think that's fair. That's fair.
I think that's yeah.
That's fair. First, I have to say congratulations on all the hard work you've done with Bumpa, because I don't think it's easy to do business in Nigeria, and I think you've done a lot of amazing hard work.
I think I would say I'll push that hard work to my team. and to my
fair enough.
and to my customers, because they are doing business too, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
Fair enough.
So congrats to
everybody involved.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about your Bumper journey so far. So you've done it for two plus years now. Yeah. I have a question on investors, but I'll come to that. But how have you seen yourself grow as an entrepreneur through the different stages of building Bump? Any personal lessons that you can draw out, either from a positive experience or from a negative experience?
I see my entire journey in Bumper as one big, it's a training. Has redefined, my outlook on a lot of things, right? I have seen myself, push limits that I did not even know that were there in the first place. I have gone beyond what I think that, that I could do.
You could do personally.
In a Bumper, we have gone through a lot of, defining moments where, it's going to be like we're going to die.
Fair enough.
I think I've had that moment twice now. Right? Where there's actually no money. There's no money. Like there's nothing. And we are here today. So it's like, there have been all of those moments that have, tested, tried, gone through many iterations of it. How we defined ourselves during the COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
Without COVID now, if we had not changed, we would have lost our identity, because our pitch at the time, our deck had pandemic, because it was a big deal then.
It was.
And now without that and everybody back to physical sales, like, you've had to, redefine what you as, your value proposition. You have to change that. You have to define it. And so I think going through all of those experiences have actually shown me multiple lessons. I don't know if there's a particular one, but even right now, we have gone through selling to very small businesses and realizing that, we're not able to get as much value as we want. And so we're going into a new customer segment. That is it. New learnings, like we have just continued to push ourselves in, disrupt ourselves basically, from what we knew that this is what we were doing, and then basically just change our path to something that we think that would work. So we're now engaging bigger businesses, that have new problems.
Yeah, exactly. New problems,
people that
new
have
ones.
multiple locations, they do physical sales. We've built point of sale. We're building our wallet system. We're building, so much cool things. We're building things like reconciliation, things that we never even touched. Like during the pandemic, it was just get the website, sell online, But now it's a whole lot. It's like, it's a digital platform now that is powering a lot of entrepreneurs, bringing them basically into the digital world of figuring out how to have a sync across all their sales channels. There's nothing that gives them that. You can sell on Gmail, you can sell on your website, you can sell on your physical store. There's no way to see it one place. It's only in Bumper right now. And so just taking us through that journey. Even one of the biggest problems we had is even trying to get people to see us beyond the website.
Interesting.
I think that was like a battle. This it's still stuff that we're figuring out. So, we're going through a lot of iterations of, trying to understand our customers better, but also trying to get them to understand us.
Mm-hmm.
And the value that we're providing to them. And so, there's been a lot of lessons, and I think like the person that I am now and the person that I was, just going into it, completely different people. Having to build a team. We're 30 something now. I try to build a team very we're not trying to grow the team as fast as possible. So, we have very young people, we have very talented, creative, dedicated people on the team, and then team building is another thing. And I try to do it like a community. Anybody you see on Bumpa, we have this community in it. There's how we are. Like if I'm with my team like this, you will not know. Like it's hard to not feel like there's something deeper than just people here just getting paid salaries and stuff. So that's tough on its own. Working with people, hiring, figuring out that part, getting money is another ball game entirely. Investors and so I think the lessons have been super clear. And I feel like I'm happy that I've been able to go all through it, and I've had the support that I've had, from my team, from investors, from just family, the people around, just helping us. I think I am a better person. A better entrepreneur
as a result of
that.
It. Yeah. I can imagine, especially you touched on the issue of being basically like, we don't have money. Like, we need to figure something out. And I'd imagine during that period, it's a time where you, the team, all the stakeholders involved, all of you need to kind of dig deep and pull together. I think a lot of companies are facing it right now. And I wanted to know, just to double down on that point, are there any things you can maybe advise founders that are going through that now? I know it's obviously going to be very circumstantial depending on the business, but any just words of advice or even words of encouragement that I can give them?
To be honest, I think that all our journeys are very different, and very little things actually just can change things drastically. But I think in everyone's journey, you would have to look, inside. You have to look within and find, what exactly might work for you. And at this point, it's like, no, don't die, right? One of the things that we don't have enough of is enough support, for entrepreneurs. Like I see a lot of things that happen on Twitter today where, when people just hear one thing, and they want to just bash founders and entrepreneurs, and just, it's like super easy. And we're forgetting that, all of these places that people want to jump to were built by entrepreneurs. Yeah. And we need to, at least the few that we have, we need to at least give them every support that they need, so it becomes very tough, even when, you're already dealing with Nigeria, you're dealing with, trying to figure out your business model or trying to get money, dealing with investors. Then now the public also now is against you. The people you think that you're building for, now they want to you. And I think it's not just about the entrepreneurs now. I think everybody, we need to do better in just trying to figure out ways to be there, for people. And for the entrepreneurs, it's gonna be, what can you do? At the time I used to, the first time we ran out of money, it was myself and TJ, putting money together to pay our the staff. We had just 2 at the time, so we could do that. It was just 2. It was tough, but it was 2, and we had to do it because what else would we do?
What else? Yeah.
The other time we wanted to raise, the time we ran out of money, I had to reach out to Okweawo. Yeah, and he just sent us $10,000. So I think relationship can be really useful. I've seen some founders that can be very arrogant. They don't want it to feel like somebody's helping me. Please help me. I am here today because of all the people that have helped me.
That have helped you. Yeah.
I'm not here going to sit down and be like, oh, I've done it by myself and stuff. And I don't think that there's any merit to it.
Yeah.
That feeling of, you want to feel like you did it by yourself. It's so lonely that you don't want to have to do it by yourself. And so I think like, just having people around, if you have people like Femi now, if I run out of money, I'll just text Femi. Femi will just send me 1 million.
Oh Lord.
But I think that it's very important to have, people that, that can support you, people that can help you figure things out. Okpa was very critical in that time, so introduced us to a few investors, and then that's how we started looking for money. Other things that we did at the third time when we the third time was we were trying to raise a big round. And then, we were looking for lead investors. We're going to run out of money if we continued in that path. So one thing we did was just to raise a smaller round. So I think for every founder, like, you have to think about what, as long as you don't die, there's an opportunity, there's hope. You believe in what you're doing, literally, you believe in it. You actually think it's going to work. You have to just get other people to believe in what you're doing. And, I had a friend that was running out of money and reached out to a few people, including me and stuff. And then they raised like 300K, now, they've passed through that entire process now and they are doing better. Like, we don't know how much success that, never got to experience because many of the companies died before they even got to that point.
Before they got there. Yeah.
Right. And, as long as you are alive, there is hope. So just don't die. Please. Everything that you have to do, some people would, lay off people or try to make the team understand, as long as there's light after the tunnel, like, it would be good to make people understand that as fast as possible. And then try to steer the ship by, finding lifelines. As
I like that word, lifeline.
Yeah. If you can get a lifeline, then you're good. So
that's interesting. Thank you for sharing. Actually, I think you raise a very good point about lifelines, and for a lot of people that comes in the form of investors. And you were one of the. I don't know if it's lucky because you put a lot of hard work into it, but
luck is still there.
Luck is still there.
I don't discount luck.
Yeah, you raised $4 million in 2022.
Yeah, 24.
And led by Base 10.
Base 10 partners. Yeah,
amazing
people.
Awesome people. Yeah. I'm very happy to hear that. But that's
so
say your relationship with them is good and things are going well on that front. But on the flip side, in your journey as an entrepreneur, are there any maybe not so good investor stories you have? So in this regard, whether a situation where you could have done better or the investor could have done better, right? Are there any stories you can maybe share on that front?
I've heard a lot of stories about investors, but I actually don't have any negative stories with investors. It's very interesting because I was in this, I think we were in the US, me and a few founders, and then we were just sharing this thing, and this one was like, this investor called the EFCC, this one is asking for their money, this one, I was just like, what case it's investors? And I'm like, I paused to just say, we have it good.
Oh, that's great.
I actually, every of our investors, and it's not just, it will be easier if it's just maybe 5 investors and maybe they have 20 something. And we have not had one issue, with an investor. We've not had one problem with an investor. We've not had one investor angry.
No, that's amazing.
At this moment, like, as much as possible, we have a WhatsApp group with our investors. We have, I do updates and I don't miss my updates, sharing them, like letting them know what's happening at each time.
Yeah.
They can reach out. Like, we have a data room with most of our finances and stuff. Like, the entire idea is just, keeping them abreast of what's happening, and still, I try to, as much as possible, to ensure that my investors still understand where we're going to, even if, we've not figured it out entirely at the moment. They can see, hey, this is the reason why you invested in us. This is the reason why. And we're still on that journey, and we're still getting it, one step at a time. And so I think, yeah, I don't have negative, but I have had it.
You said, no. I mean,
it is.
No, it's crazy out there, believe
You
me.
know, I've seen some people get, raise money and then the money did not come into their account. Those things are crazy. After announcing and you did not see money, it's crazy. I don't know why some investors would do that. Thankfully that they did not find us.
Yeah.
They did not find us because I don't know if it's that I don't know. I don't even want to put it on experience, but I don't know that I would have. Yeah, maybe it was just luck. That we've had good investors. I have investors just checking in. Say not about the business. How are you?
How are you doing?
Oh my God!
And that's
when
a
I
blessing.
I just be like,
That's a blessing.
this.
Yeah.
Like, you have people like Sheriff. I met him once. He's Jada Capital.
Yeah. I know.
Okay,
I know.
him. In Egypt. So just be like, how are you doing? You have people like Dio Microtraction. Are you good though? Like, I'm giving up. Like, well, what about you? How is things right now with you? And these are the people that we have. Lucy will be like, what's going on in your life personally without the business? Like, do you feel good? And so I think like just having all of those kind of supports, like,
Yeah,
I think
it makes a very big difference.
it's a big difference. And, for founders that experience the bad parts, I'm sorry, I don't think that there's anything that I can say or do, but, I wish that everybody can experience, good investors. I'm sure that, there are a lot of good investors there. And, the good thing that we will have to do is, continue to let people know about these good ones.
Yeah.
So, think about all the people that I've mentioned today, like Fast Forward Ventures, Microtraction, Jada Capital, Base 10 Partners, Plug and Play, very, very cool people actually. And shout out to Antonio, very supportive. It would be as if he wants to help you to build your company. You have Magic Fund, Francis Sani. Oh my God! Like, so, I think if you have people like this, around the 1 year, always be dropping things. This thing, push you. Push you. This thing. Why is this? Randomly test out your product. Why is this happening? Like you just have the people that keep you in check, helping you
Keep you accountable.
Yeah.
Well. I like that.
And so, I wish everybody can experience that other side too.
I think that's pretty good, man. I'm really happy to hear that you've had so far great experience and I hope it continues.
I hope it's.
So I know we've talked about your story quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I would like to maybe point a direction looking forward.
Well,
what's next for Kelvin?
Kelvin, I think what's next for Kelvin is what Kelvin is still on right now. There's so much for me to figure out Bumpa with the team. And so, we're going into a new customer segment. We're releasing a few things. There's a big event we're gonna be announcing soon. Probably Q1, early Q2 next year. And we're going to be announcing all of these cool things that we have built for this new customer segment.
Sure.
We're going to be expanding soon out of the country. Yes, I think that's very important now for many entrepreneurs. So we're going to be expanding soon across a few countries with Space Stack. So I think it's what's next for us is just continue to do what we're doing and then scaling our our value props to more customers or more merchants that understand what we're doing and are ready to pay for a solution.
Okay, that's awesome. And Kelvin, thank you so much. This has been honestly awesome. You've gone through your entire story from.
I have, right?
No, I love it so much. From the beginning, the very beginning, to your love for community, how you got into tech in the first place, the different things you've tried, wanting to go into big tech, but entrepreneurship, dragged you. And even some of your plans for the future. Thank you so much. So we're going to be closing soon. I just want to ask, do you have any parting words or any words of advice for our viewers, or even anything you wish I had asked that you would like to say?
I I don't think that there's much that I want. I like this. Okay, no.
No, I think it's fine.
But I think there's one thing that I there's something that I printed that I have in my office that and I think that is useful to even every entrepreneur, and that is keep showing up. Right. I think I wrote that word because it's what I tell myself every day. Right. It's like I may not know like what 2 years, next 5 years holds for me. Because to be honest, everything I have done, I was not able to predict that I would be doing them at any time in my past. Right? Doing Tech Quest, I predicted I would be training kids. After doing mechanical engineering, I would not have predicted I would go into CC Hub.
Yeah.
Even while in like all of these things happen at the time, and it happened at the right time. And I think like there's a big part of ensuring that everything that you're doing, that you're bringing the same level of excellence in everything that you're doing. Like a big part of the support that I got, when I was raising money the first time, I had not raised money before, right? But I had people just trust me because of their experiences with me. 001 year is one of them. Like I said, I am doing something. And he said, send me the account.
That's a big show of faith.
I did not do a demo with him. He did not see it. Right? But as I have worked with him and he has seen, he said, if there's anybody that will figure it out, be you.
Yeah, be you.
Like you do everything that it will take. And that's what I'm doing today. Like everything that it will take. I'm now a content creator. I'm a salesman. I'm going to shops like I spend 1 day of my week, go visiting stores. I will do whatever it takes. And so people have seen that, and then that's how I support that I got early on. And I think if you just keep on showing up, like no matter, and this is not just for entrepreneurs now, every single person, if you just keep on showing up, doing what you have to do, like I think like you'll look back at some point and you'll be able to connect the dots, see why you have become successful.
Kelvin, thank you very much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Super awesome. Honestly, you've been a great guest.
It was fun.
And to our viewers, thank you very much for staying to the end and joining us for this episode. Till next time, take care.
Bye.